Hello, one and all, and welcome to the channel. Today, I'm giving you guys a very exciting video. I just got back from the South by Southwest Film Festival a few days ago, and I was very fortunate enough to cover the festival as press under the Rolling Tape, which, by the way, if you guys are not following the Rolling Tape, you definitely should do that right now if you're not already. So, I'm going to put links for the Rolling Tape in the description below. Go check us out. We're doing a lot of really exciting things over there. So, South by Southwest. Everyone had told me that this was going to be an incredible time, and it absolutely was. I cannot express to you guys properly how much of a blast I had going down to Austin, attending this film festival, meeting so many incredible people, some who you guys may know via YouTube or Twitter or TikTok or what have you. I mean, Sean Chandler, Eric Striffler, Sydney Volpe, the entire House of Cinema team. I met a lot of incredible people. Jake Hamilton, incredible interviewer. Jake Hamilton, probably the most energetic guy I've ever met in my life. Like, wow. If you're not following any of these people, I'm also going to put their channels in the description below. Go follow them because they're doing a lot of incredible things themselves. So anyway, I saw 22 films at South by Southwest, and today I'm going to give you guys a ranking of my top 10 films that I saw at South by Southwest. If you guys want to know my full thoughts on all these movies, I do have reviews for them on Letterboxd, and if you could follow me on Twitter as well, I posted some reviews of them on there as well. So go follow me on all those platforms. So anyway, 10 favorite films at South by Southwest. Let's kick it off with number 10. Number 10 is going to be I Wish You All the Best. This is the directorial debut of Tommy Dorfman. This follows a non-binary teen who gets kicked out of their home by their parents and decides to go live with their sister and her husband. But what I ended up getting was such an endearing, wholesome, coming of age tale about self discovery. It's nothing new to the genre. It's not exactly the most groundbreaking story, but I haven't seen a lot of stories tackle non binary teenagers in a way this earnest before. To be honest, there's not that many films out there following non binary individuals. And I thought the performances across the board were fantastic, especially from the lead. I thought they were incredible. And I'm so excited to see what they bring next to their career. I really, really enjoyed I Wish You All the Best. Coming in at number 9 was the biggest surprise for me at the film festival, and that's Civil War, directed by Alex Garland. I do like Alex Garland's films. I admittedly, like a lot of people, was very disappointed with Men. I think Ex Machina and Annihilation are two great films, but Men was such a step down. So I had no idea if he was going to find a way of bouncing back. I was really surprised by how much I liked this movie. I think it's a really exciting film. I think it's a really terrifying film. There's a lot of emotions throughout this movie, and it definitely should be seen in IMAX. I saw it in IMAX. They did a separate screening at the festival. They had the world premiere screen, then they had an IMAX screen at this really incredible museum in the heart of Austin. And it might have been the loudest IMAX I've ever seen. Yes, even louder than Dune, even louder than anything Christopher Nolan has done. It's really insane the directions that this film goes in, and it's only a brisk hour and 50-minute movie. It flies by. There's not an ounce of fat to be found. And it definitely did not go in the directions that I was expecting. And I have to commend Alex Garland for that. And number 8, we have Babes, directed by Pamela Alden and starring Michelle Buteau and Alana Glazer. This movie is freaking hilarious. This is something that I would say is akin to a Judd Apatow production, to where there's a lot of comedy in it, and it primarily is focused on the comedy, but then you get that heart incorporated into it that makes you feel so moved even while you're laughing hysterically throughout the movie. It's a beautiful film about friendship and love. And I also really admire how this movie tackles the theme of how your friend may just be a friend, but to you, they could also be your family and your escape and where you belong. I got very teary eyed during this movie. I was very moved, and I think the performances of Alana Glazer and Michelle Buteau are wonderful, and their chemistry is off the charts good. And number 7, we have The Fall Guy, David Leitch's newest film, obviously starring Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt. This movie ripped. I loved it so much. I was not expecting to be as high on it as I wanted to be, despite my love for Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt. I'm hot and cold with David Leitch. I think he is a very talented filmmaker, but the stories in his films just never really do much for me. And I do like action movies, and don't worry, we'll be talking about a certain action film in a couple of minutes. But I really admired how this film was a celebration of not only stuntmen, which obviously is pivotal since the main character in this movie is a stuntman. I love a movie that celebrates an entire crew on set. They give a shout out to practically every single department in this movie, but it is primarily focused on stuntman. It's what you love to see in a studio action rom com. The romance is slick, the comedy is hilarious, and the action sequences are wonderfully choreographed. I mean, the stunt work here is exceptional. It's comes to show that David Leitch knows exactly what he's doing when it comes to the stunt work. But I also found the story to be really fun and engaging. This movie has a lot of great needle drops as well, and I don't want to spoil anything. In case anyone has spoiled them for you, I am so sorry, but there's a lot of great bops in this movie, not just from the 80s, but current day songs, and one particular neo bop from an artist that I personally don't care about, but somehow I think it worked really perfectly for the movie. So I'm very excited to see everyone's reaction to that when this movie comes out. At number six, we have Omniloop. This film stars Mary Louise Parker and Iowa Debris. This is another stuck in a time loop movie. I know what you're gonna say. You're gonna be like, "Don't we have so many of those?" We absolutely do. However, this film took it in a more dramatic approach. There was comedy injected into it, of course, but this was more of a somber look into that. I don't want to say anything else because that's the basic crux of this movie. I went into it not sure what to expect, and I walked out of it absolutely floored by it. And a lot of it really has to do with the juggernaut performances from Mary Louise Parker and Iowa Debris, especially Mary Louise Parker, who I feel gives a possible career best in this movie. I found the movie to be really moving. And if you're someone with a close relationship to your family, especially your mother, oh, this film's gonna hit you like a ton of bricks. I have a very good relationship with my mother, so this movie like really just I'm not gonna lie, after I saw the movie, I I wanted to call my mom because I just it really got me, man. It really hit me in the feels. I loved Omniloop, and I really hope that someone good picks up the movie soon because it has yet to be picked up by a distributor. Hopefully, it's no one bad like Netflix. I probably just jinxed it, and if I did, well, I have proof. At number five, we have Musica. This is written and directed by Rudy Mancuso, as well as starring him and Camila Mendez. This is a semi-autobiographical tale of Rudy Mancuso's life. And man, as a New Jerseyan, this was my kind of movie. Not just because of the Jersey roots and everything, but I also found it to be a really lovely film that had a lot of great heart and humor incorporated into it. I didn't expect this movie to be anything special, and sure, the story may not be anything groundbreaking by any means, but I really love the filmmaking approach. There's a lot of really fascinating quick edits. And if you're someone who loves the usage of sound in films, this is the kind of film that you need to watch because the sound work here is really extraordinary and something that you're not used to really celebrating when watching a movie like this. Like you watch this and you're like, oh, it's a cute little rom com, whatever. But the sound work is so extraordinary. It's so good. I love the banter between Rudy and Camilla. It is really disappointing that Amazon had three movies show at this film festival and all of them are going to stream it. One of them is Roadhouse, which is out by the time that you're watching this video, and then of course the Idea of You, which was the closing night film, which is starring Anne Hathaway. That's coming out in May. I didn't see that film. I unfortunately left the film festival before that film showed, so I wasn't able to catch the closing night film, but I really enjoyed Musica, and I think it is one to check out when you guys get the chance. So, at number four, we have We're All Gonna Die. This is a film directed by Freddie Wan and Matthew Arnold. If you're not familiar with Freddie Wan, he is one of the people behind the channel Rocket Jump. I'm not super well rounded with that channel, but I love the idea of a YouTuber stepping from that to directing a feature film, similar to how the guys who made Talk to Me last year came from a background in doing YouTube, and now they're making a feature film, and that's so exciting to see this different side of them. So We're All Gonna Die does involve the idea of the world coming to an end, but there's also a lot of humor incorporated to it, but there's also a lot of sadness throughout the movie too, because these two characters that we meet, they're going through their own emotional journeys, and obviously not going to spoil them here, but once you find out why they're the way they are, it makes for a very riveting watch to where I started feeling sad and I kept thinking about certain elements in my life because there were pieces of myself that I saw in these two characters with how they were grieving and dealing with trauma and all these other personal struggles that they had in their lives. And I think it's a great showcase for these two actors. They're so good in this film together and separately. But I also think the movie beautifully balances the comedy and the drama together to where it all feels earned. Because whenever a movie balances comedy and drama, I could sense it feeling a little jarring, but I think this movie perfectly blends it to where it doesn't feel forced, it doesn't feel gimmicky, and it feels earned. You're not watching the movie going, "This comedy felt out of place," or "This drama felt out of place." It all felt earned, and it reminded me a lot of Beef. And I think this was an underdog at the festival, and it's hopefully going to be one that gets a distributor very soon, because I think this is one that's going to do very well when it comes out. I think it might find its audience. It may not be the best movie in the world, but I feel like this is one that's going to resonate with a lot of people. It was one that was celebrated by a lot of people at the festival, so I feel like it's going to find its audience once it comes out. And number three, we have the biggest title that I saw at the festival, hands down, and that is, of course, Monkey Man, the directorial debut of Dev Patel. When you hear about the trials and tribulations he went through to make this movie and bring it to life, I mean, you have so much respect for the man for what he had to go through to bring this movie to life. And oh my God, this movie was everything I wanted and more. And the action sequences are so visceral and epic. The fact that this is his directorial debut blows my mind. I cannot believe that this respected actor, this Oscar nominated actor who's been in so many wonderful films, decided that he was going to make his first film behind the camera be an action movie, and it shows. I mean, the man like really went through a lot to bring this film to life. And the action set pieces are incredible. They're epic, they're bonkers, they're creative. And Dev Patel is honestly showcasing some of his most restrained work as an actor, but then all of a sudden he just snaps and you see the side of him that I have honestly never seen from him. The fact that Jordan Peele came in and saw this movie and said, "We're going to get this a theatrical run," because originally this was just going to go to Netflix, and then Jordan Peele came in, saved the day, brought it to Universal, and now the movie's coming out in theaters in just a few weeks. And I got to be at the world premiere, and the energy in that room was unlike anything I've ever seen before. I've gone to so many movies with big crowds and excitement and energy, but nothing comes close to watching Monkey Man at the world premiere at South by Southwest. Everybody was having a great time. Dev Patel came on stage after the movie and he was just crying. He was so moved that people were celebrating this film that he was so passionate and afraid that he was never going to be able to bring to life, and he did it. And it gets me so excited to see this new side of him, because I really believe that this is one of the best directorial debuts from an actor that I've seen in a very hot minute. I loved Monkey Man. It was exciting, it was energetic, it was on the edge of your seat. There was some great comedy sprinkled throughout it, and really the combat is, it's insane. So not only does Dev Patel solidify himself as a great action star, he also solidifies himself as a great director. And I cannot wait to see what else he does next behind the camera. Now, my top two kept going back and forth, and I'm pretty confident with this list. So, number two, I'm going to go with a film called It's What's Inside. This was a horror film that premiered at Sundance. This film is best to go into knowing nothing, literally as little as possible. That's how I experience it, and that's how you should experience it as well. And I have to say that this was a great way to end the festival for me. This was actually the last film that I saw at South by Southwest, and man, I went on out on a high note. I really think that this movie delivers on everything that you want in a horror movie. It's a great mind fuckery filled with a lot of great laughs and twists and turns that I did not anticipate going in the directions that they went in. And I really love the ensemble. Everyone did a great job. Now, it did get picked up by Netflix, which I guess is a win. This is a film that I think is going to do very well when it hits the platform. I wish that it wasn't being picked up by Netflix. I wish that people could go see this in a crowd in a theater, but I think it's going to do very well if you watch it at home with a group of friends, or if it is playing at a theater near you, you definitely got to go check it out. Great imagery, great ensemble, just all around incredible film, truly incredible film. And my number one favorite film that I saw at South by Southwest was none other than Ghost Slide. This was another film that played at Sundance to a lot of acclaim, and this was very much a film that was up my alley. And oh my god, there was not a single dry eye at this screening, and I don't cry a lot during movies. It's very hard for me to cry. I get emotional very easily, but this one literally led the waterworks off, and I mean, it really moved me so much. And in case you guys don't know what this is, it's about a father who is in the midst of grieving after a very tragic loss, and he's unable to really open up to people. He holds all of his grieving back, which leads to a lot of anger and frustration and yelling and snapping and what have you. He has his wife and his daughter, and he stumbles across this local theater group who are doing a production of Romeo and Juliet, and he decides to just join it. And he finds a second family that feels so welcoming to him, but he's also able to open up about what he's been going through to where he doesn't feel lost and hopeless anymore, and it's so beautiful, and the performances are so fucking good. They're so good, and the fact that you have this real life family playing a family on screen, I can't even imagine what that was like. The lead actor, Keith Comfer, I think that's his name, he's incredible. I wanted to see more work from him, and I love what these directors did with this film. It was beautiful, it was breezy, it was just so moving and so charming, and it's one of those films that I feel like is hard to hate when you see it. Everyone I know that saw this either at Sundance or at South by Southwest, everyone liked it. They at least liked it, and I do think that this is a film that is going to resonate with so many people. There's going to be people who could find some element of this to relate to, and I loved it so much. It was hard because It's What's Inside really like rocked my world, but I really think that this was my favorite thing that I watched at South by Southwest. I sat down for days just thinking about which one I preferred, and if I'm being honest, Ghostlight was more up my alley than It's What's Inside, but I love both films equally. However, think that Ghostlight was the best thing that I watched at South by Southwest. I adore it. I think it's incredible. IFC picked it up. I'm not sure when it's coming out. Hopefully, though, it gets a proper release and people are able to see this and be moved by it just like me. Ghostlight was my favorite film that I saw at South by Southwest. And that is it with my top 10 list, guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really, really appreciate it. And again, I want to thank everybody who made South by Southwest as incredible for me as I ever could have imagined. I love that I got to go. I had a great time. I will absolutely be back next year. And I want to just say to my listeners, if any of you are ever interested in going to South by Southwest, definitely go for it. It is an absolute blast. You're going to meet a lot of really cool people, watch some cool movies, occasionally some TV shows, a lot of cool conferences, keynotes, music performances, what have you. There's a lot of really exciting things. South by Southwest was a great time, and I cannot wait for next year to go back. Please follow me on all social platforms to keep up to date with what I'm doing. And thank you guys so much for watching this video. I'll see you guys soon.